Madam Melot is one of my most favorite humans. She's been in my life for many, many years, and I'm excited for her to take this big step.
It is exciting.
It's a big step.
It is big.
And I'm excited to see what she'll accomplish in it.
All right.
Through this.
Let's see.
Is she going to answer?
I don't know. 2 ringy dingy. 3 ringy dingy. Here we go. Yes. Hi, Rachel.
Woo!
Nobody can hear you yet except me. Do you mind if we go live and you're being recorded and it's on a lot of different platforms? Is that all cool with you? Okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
Fiona's right next to me.
Hello, Rachel.
Hello, Fiona.
Long time no see.
I know. Where have you been all my life?
I know, right? Same.
Hey, we've got those disclosures out there.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
Well, we have known you for a long time. You're well respected by us, Rachel, and we appreciate all the hard work that you've done. I remember first meeting you back when you were up at the top of the Masonic building running that, and you had just become a record holder like from OBU's track team.
That was a while ago, yes.
Not too long. Come on. I'm just a kid at 60 is what I like to claim.
Yes.
Well,
I think you do have a youthful spirit indeed.
Well said. Do you, we followed track over at OBU, and Coach Maston, he wasn't even there when you were there. Was he?
Well, my first year, I actually ran with Coach Stone. That's who recruited me as a high jumper.
Ooh.
And then Coach Stone left after my freshman year. And Coach Maston came in my sophomore year. So I ran 1 year for Coach Stone and 3 years for Coach Maston.
That's awesome.
And he's just recently retired. And Coach Whitlock was one of my teammates.
Oh, my goodness.
So Brian and I were teammates at OBU.
That is crazy.
That is. And I know you high jumped. Is that where I saw the records? Were you the record-setting high jumper?
I was. At one time, I held 8 OBU track and field records.
Way to
go.
But
the one that I held the longest was high jump. I held it up until a couple of years ago. So I held it for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So
and then an Olympian smashed it.
Yeah, right?
Okay, so 8 records, one for 20 years. That is classic Rachel, the achiever.
Yes.
Right there.
Thank you.
And Rachel, so we know and respect you and adore you so much. And my dad and I are actually calling all of the candidates, and we're asking one question to all of the candidates. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
So ready. Okay, so Rachael Melot, why should we vote for you?
I believe that you should vote for me because I am the candidate running for State Senate District 17 that has your best interest at heart. I believe that this is a Senate seat that is in need right now of someone to represent all of our district and not just one section or just one industry or one special interest group.
Right.
And it requires, somebody who's willing to learn and hear from the great diversity that we have in our district. And so, you can be a specialist in one department, and that's great. Or you can be willing to kind of to advocate on behalf of everyone. And one thing that I bring to this role is the small business ownership and understanding what the highs and lows and the difficulties and the challenges of whether it's taxation or regulation or government overreach into our business ownership is really important. I think our small businesses have, really been through the ringer from a variety of things over the last, let's take it back even, just say a decade or so, from, housing crisis to inflation to COVID and post-COVID and the the cost of goods going up dramatically, supply chains insane, restaurants having to be closed. You know, it's really important that our senators understand and empathize and help our small businesses, because it's small businesses like ShawneeCTV that employ people in our community, that keep our sports teams sponsored, that keep our chambers active, that help us recruit other businesses. And so I think that's one area. I'm actually at an economic development event right now, working with site selectors to understand why they should be in Shawnee for their new business or the business that they represent. And I think that's just really important to have that that look. And the second reason I would say vote for me is I believe that the candidates that I am running against have had their time, and they've served, and they're both great people. Both Ron and Shane are great people, but they've served, and it's time for us to put somebody in with a forward look at where we need to go and not just where we've been. And they spend a lot of time fighting over where we've been, and I think it's time to look at where we can go.
That is a great perspective, Rachael. So Ron and Shane have been in the race before, but you and your other opponent, Cody, haven't ran, correct?
Correct.
Yes. And so as I'm learning new things about you, was your start in Shawnee at OBU? Have you been here since college, or was it before then? Or where was your start in Shawnee?
Well, interestingly enough, I actually had some interaction with Shawnee before I ever came to OBU, because I went to Sulphur High School, and my youth pastor in Sulphur, Oklahoma, was the son-in-law of the founder of Liberty Church and school. And so when I was in high school, I led what was called a morning breakfast prayer group on Friday mornings with Pastor Bill Leverage. And he brought me to Liberty Baptist School and Church, and I spoke at one of their chapels. And that was actually my first kind of introduction into Shawnee. Was Bill and Pam Leverage brought me up to Liberty Baptist, and I led a chapel.
So a little fun fact there, I was friends and went to school with Pam's sister, Michelle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Michelle, we're talking about the Matthews.
Wonderful people.
Yeah.
Wonderful people.
Yes. Was that your introduction to public speaking as well?
Probably. Even when I was a kid, I just always enjoyed being the storyteller, right? Or being the motivator. My mom owned a small business. She owned a gymnastics place, and I taught gymnastics for her starting in the 8th grade. And so I always had just a coach's mindset. It was always coaching or selling, if you will. And it was always just really appealing to me. I always went to the Zig Ziglar conferences and groups. I've seen hundreds of fabulous speakers, and I just love what they can do to a room when they can stand up and deliver a message, and everyone in there, thousands of people, feel like they're talking just to you, right? Or telling you exactly what you needed to hear. And that it always fascinated me. And I think that's also a great skill set to have as a senator, because, a lot of your job, right, is to create momentum around a policy or an idea that you want people to support, or you need people to support to get a majority vote, or to get it through to the floor, and to get it approved. And, that's a major role. And so it really doesn't, do us any good to write 100 bills if we can't get any of them to the floor to be voted on, right? And so you have to have that ability to work with others, and especially those that you don't agree with or that think differently, but yet you put your differences aside for the greater good of our state. And so when you can tell that story and bring people along the journey where they can visualize what the result's going to be, I just think that's really powerful. And I love to do that when I do public speaking. And so when I speak, I had the opportunity to speak at the Best of Tri-County Awards event earlier this week. I think there was about 500 people in the room. And when you can just speak to them and you know that what's been put on your heart is exactly what you're supposed to say in that moment, and people come up and say, man, I didn't know that was part of your story, or hey, you told this, but guess what my story was. And it's wonderful.
It really is. And Rachael, you inferred earlier, you have a broader interest pool than a singular interest, which really was inferring that perhaps in the past in which we've had representation, there was some singular interests that were being served rather than the broader good. Could you give me an example, or give us an example of what you're talking about? You don't have to lay names or anything else, but just you can tell us the story. But I'm interested in that because I really believe that the broadest interest is what's the most important for all of us.
Yeah, sure. I really, I could probably think of a couple of examples, but I can't really do that without laying it out against people in particular. And I'm really trying to run a campaign that I don't do that.
Right.
Okay.
And so I'll just lay it out as a general principle and then leave it at that.
Okay. It's so cool that we have the entire gamut of people who want to be involved and to serve. And it takes a lot of courage to throw your hat into the ring, Rachael Melot.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that from all of us, from the deepest parts of our hearts.
Yes. Thank you, Rachael.
You're so welcome. I was thinking about that this morning, actually, myself, with, some districts may have a hard time getting somebody to run. And our district has 4 really high quality people all willing to serve. And that's just a testament of our district and people really, and the people that are in it, and their desire to really maintain our local values and take those to the legislation and to legislators, and to participate and not just sit by and let things happen to you, but to participate. And we have 4 quality candidates. Lucky us.
Yes. Well, we have much more positive in our community than negative, even though negative sometimes sounds so loud just because it is boisterous. But we know that, 19 out of 20 people would much rather just be joy-filled than to complain about anything.
That's right. That's right.
We appreciate you, Rachael. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
appreciate you guys.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see you on Saturday. Have a great day.
Yes, we will.
Bye, Rachael.